So today's gospel lesson has John 3:16. Anyone have that memorized? Yeah, a few hands. Familiar with it? Heard it before maybe? It seems almost like John 3:16 has become the emblem of Protestant Christianity, or maybe the slogan of evangelical Christianity. And I kind of wonder, when did that verse get chosen? Was there some poll that I missed out on? Because I'm not sure, frankly, that I would have chosen John 3:16. I don't know about you. I wish we could have cast a vote on that. It's God so loved the world. Well, there's a good start. That He gave His only begotten Son, that whoever believes in Him should not perish, but have eternal life. This believing in Him thing, what's that even mean? Like, He existed, so people believe He existed. Does that mean they believe in Him? Well, then you believe in me, because I'm right here before you. Belief is obtuse, because believing in Jesus as the Christ and following Him involves so much more than belief assent, where you're either perishing or not, which is how that verse has been taken. The notion, in the Bible it also says that faith, that belief without good works is dead. So clearly this faith is more than John 3:16. I kind of like John 3:17. Did you all catch that? Just one verse later. God sent His Son into the world not to condemn the world, but that the world might be saved through Him. I like that. He came not to condemn the world, not to judge the world, not to say who's good, who's bad, who's in, who's out. He didn't come for some heaven and hell division of humanity, but that He might save us. Save us from the darkness that is all around. Look at the world. It's sometimes pretty gloomy. He came like a light into the darkness to save us from death, from pain that's internal, from our own temptation to judge ourselves and one another's. He didn't come, we heard, to condemn the world. So this isn't about shame. Whatever that little voice of shame is that's coming in your head, you can turn that off. That's not why He came. That's not why God chose to be with us. Or that judgment, self-judgment, sometimes can be the harshest. We can turn that off. That's not why Jesus came to be with us. He came with us to save us. He came with us for life. He came with us to shine light into those dark places and to say that in the deepest darkness, I'm there with you. In the deepest, most painful challenges that you are facing, my love is there, surrounding you, protecting you. I want to invite you for a moment to think about darkness times in your life. Moments when you've faced great struggle and suffering. Whether it's something you're going through now or something quite a while ago. Life's not easy. This journey's hard. Glad we have each other. And the light came into the world to tell us that even in that, I'm with you. I'm loving you through that. Suffering with you through that. Because often it's those darkest, most painful experiences when we turn to God and say, if you're a loving God, why would you let this happen? Where are you right now in my pain and suffering? And God sent the Son into the world not to condemn the world, but to bring life into that dark place. The Gospel of John elsewhere says, the light has shone into the darkness, and the darkness did not understand it. The darkness did not even recognize it. Some of you I've shared my personal story with, I think it was Easter of 2016. But I look out and probably half of you weren't even here in 2016. And I want to share it because it was the darkest period in my life. And some of you have heard it, so it's going to be a refresher. Some of you have not, and I want to share that. It was middle school. Any middle school dark ages in the room? Anyone else? Yeah. We grew up. My parents are here. Raise your hand. There they are. We lived in Detroit in the inner city through 5th grade for me. So being here in East Oakland now, it's like going home to the city. And but we moved out of Detroit after 5th grade and into Lexington, Michigan, where they still live. Small town, rural resort town. Families there have lived there for generations. You're the new people for like 200 years. Because these kids I went to school with, their parents went to grade school with other parents, and their grandparents went to grade school together. So being the new kid in this place, it was hard. But I was also, the tall kid, like awkwardly tall, because, figuring that out in middle school, hormones and all of that. I had braces, like bright braces. And what else? I would raise my hand whenever the teacher had a question, because wasn't that what you're supposed to do? Not popular. Bright red hair. This used to be brighter, because my first year here it was. But these were all reasons that I was tormented, and those were some pretty dark years. And I remember being afraid of riding the bus. They picked me up from school often because I did not want to ride the bus. And I remember sometimes just wanting it all to end. Just thinking it'd be nice if this all ended. I didn't come up with a plan of how to do that. That's when you should be concerned about someone, definitely, but I wanted it to end. And I know I'm on film, but I remember stabbing an orange thinking of the kids on the bus. Like, this was really dark, turning into like anger and just fear of kids in middle school can be really wicked. Oh my gosh, I can remember the faces of the kids on the bus. I remember some of their names. I remember some of the specific things they said and did. Kids can be wicked at that age. And Cradle Episcopalian Church, we went to church, but it didn't really resonate because life was pretty, not great. And where's God in all of this? And 8th grade, so that lasted for a while. 6th grade, 7th grade. So 8th grade, we did a house church with some other families. It was in their living room. There was no priest, there was no deacon, there was no bishop. It was just a couple families, few families getting together and praying, reading scripture. There was bread and wine, but no consecrating. It was just an agape meal. And during that service, there was a song that they were singing. And I was sitting in a lazy boy. It was comfy. I remember it. And I sat back as they're singing the song, and there's this refrain that goes like this. They taught it to us, the cantor. There's an almost unbelievable goodness that helps us face the fierce unknown. There's an almost unbelievable goodness that helps us face the fierce unknown. And we sing that over and over and over. Just for about a minute, we were singing, like Taizé music when we sing that. And then while we're singing that, the cantor sings Psalm 23 over that. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall not fear. And she sings that whole song just as there's an almost unbelievable goodness. And I'm sitting in the chair and I close my eyes. And I close them right now. It's black and there's red and there's white probably from the windows. And I say, God, wherever you are, if you are, here I am. Just kind of this cry for help. Kind of chokes me up remembering. Because it was kind of a last cry for help kind of thing. And in that moment, like right now, black and red and tingling, it went white. White. Is all I saw was white. And I could not feel my butt on the chair. I felt like I was just lifted. And just flooded with being loved. Just this overwhelming force of love And I felt some great love from these two parents here, but this was just like love head to toe, every inch of the body just consuming love. And it was this, I don't know how long it lasted. It might have been a minute, it might have been 10 minutes. Probably the song didn't go on for 10 minutes, but it was just a moment that changed my life. I have a journal, it's green, and I wrote about it. This was September. And after that experience, I wrote in that journal that when I grew up, I wanted to be a capital L lover, to show that love to the world. Because that experience of love set me on a journey of seeking to know and understand that force of love that I experienced that day in the deepest darkness. And that led me into discovering saints and mystics and people who had had these kind of life-changing encounters with a loving God. Teresa of Avila, John of the Cross, and Julian of Norwich, and Francis in his moment, and St. Paul in the scriptures who encountered Christ on the road. And that got me exploring what's the meaning of life and asking our priest at church lots of questions. And the bullies kind of lost their power. Their words kind of fell flat because it's like there is something bigger than all of it, bigger than these bullies, bigger than the needles they're blowing at me. They did that little spit wads with needles on them. Bigger than all of that, though, was this force that loved me that was huge, and nothing could change that. And that was amazing. And it's just, their words, at that point, I didn't even know what they were saying more, because it wasn't true, so it didn't really matter anymore. And after 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, high school was great. This was a time of a new discovery, a new wonder. And it wasn't until the end of high school that I had to figure out, okay, you don't get paid to be a lover, I've got to figure out a career path, and that's where ministry was the path that became clear for me. And that's the thing, this unconditional, powerful force of love, which was what turned that path 180 degrees. And that's the message I want to leave you with today. That no matter what's going on, no matter what darkness, no matter what pain, no matter what suffering, no matter even what the voices in your head are saying to you, no matter what you've done in your past, no matter the wrongs, things you've done to hurt people or hurt yourself, through all of that, there is a force that loves you, and there's nothing you can do to change that. God's going to love you and keep loving you, and if you repeat all those mistakes you've made, because God knows them all, God's going to keep loving you all the more. And not just you, but the person next to you and the person across from you. And that force of love is in you and is yours. That you are called to be a lover. That's a call for each and every one of us, indwelt by this powerful force of love. So that when we go out from here, we're going out from this room as God's incarnate love to encounter beloveds of God, each and every person that we encounter along the way, to be that force of love in the world, to bring and continue to bring that light into the darkness, that love into places of hopelessness, that the Word incarnate might continue to incarnate in this world. And so I want to propose that rather than John 3:16, there's another book in the Bible, 1 John, when you see 1 John, that's not the first chapter of John, that's another tiny little letter. And in that letter it says, 1 John 4:16, God is love, and whoever abides in love abides in God, and God in them. So, Christian, Buddhist, whatever age, whatever path, like we say at the beginning, no matter who you are or where you are, if you are abiding in love, God is in you. and you are in God, and you are going out into this world to be God's loving force. Maybe that should be the slogan of our faith. Who wants a bumper sticker? 1 John 4:16. I'm ready to look it up on Google. Anyone want one? Because I'm seriously going to look this up. That's the verse I would have voted for. And I hope that you can receive that into your heart today, or the reminder of that there is a force so strong that loves you and is not going to stop and is going to love you through the pain, the suffering, the trials, and the darkness that is before us. Because life's not over. And God's going to be with you through all that is to come, as God has been with you through everything that you have faced.